Hey everyone, so I wanted to do my eyebrow update because I've been getting loads of questions and people kind of wondering how I'm getting on. So my eyebrows have obviously grown back in as much as I'm gonna let them. And for anyone who maybe hasn't followed my channel up until now or hasn't seen any previous videos, my eyebrows used to be pretty much pencil thin. I used to have extremely thin eyebrows. I used to keep them that way on purpose, always groom them myself. And I used to kind of like the look that, I liked the look of thin eyebrows before, and I used to, you know, it kind of gave me a lot of freedom to play around because I used to often say pluck even my whole eyebrow from here off, or from here onwards off. And you know, I'd kind of heighten the end or change the tail shape and stuff like that. And there was always hair here, but it was often very, very thin. So I'll show you pictures anyhow of how my eyebrows used to look. And this was up until really, really recently. It's only about, I'd say maybe 3 months now, possibly tiny bit more, but around 3 months when I started to actually grow my eyebrows back. So mine grew back mega quickly. I'd say within 2 months they were pretty much back. And this is the finished thickness of what I'm, as thick as I'm going to go. They were actually a lot thicker. I'd forgotten or maybe hadn't just realised how thick my eyebrows actually were. Not necessarily dense, but how much of an area the hair is actually covered when they were fully grown in. Because how I grew my eyebrows back, might as well just kind of let you know for anyone who is interested, is I pretty much stopped plucking altogether for 2 weeks, which was impossible for me, and I still managed it. So I was very proud of myself because I have always been a plucker. I've been plucking my eyebrows since I was 13. And I can't really remember, except for looking at maybe photographs, how thick they were before then. And in my older photographs when I was younger, they were quite kind of, there was a lot of them, but they were sparse. So yeah, I'm nearly 29, so a good 16, 15 years plucking my eyebrows. And I honestly wasn't quite sure if they'd fully grow back as much as I wanted them to or not. But luckily they did. Which is quite rare actually, because I know plenty of people who pluck their eyebrows loads, not even for half as long as what I was plucking my eyebrows for, and they don't grow back at all. My older sister has been plucking her eyebrows since she was a teenager as well, and hers were really thick and black and dense when we were younger, and hers now, she'll go a month and she gets absolutely no regrowth, maybe the odd blonde fluff coming through, but for some reason she doesn't have the dark hair coming through. So I'm lucky that my eyebrows grew back when they did, because I got so sick of having thin eyebrows and of constantly having to shape them. And one of the things with my eyebrows is, this is probably why they grew back so quickly or whatever, but I've very quick regrowth, as in if I didn't pluck my eyebrows every day or at least every second day, there was quite a lot of visible stubble, which wasn't a good look, especially maybe for the look that I was going for. So it kind of got really annoying that I had to pluck my eyebrows every day, because now, I mean, just normally with eyebrows, the hair tends to get a bit lighter as it goes down. So now when I do pluck, the hairs that are a bit further down, the ones that I do get rid of, aren't quite as thick and maybe as noticeable. So I can happily go 3-4 days now without plucking, and you know, after that it gets a bit, no, I can't go any further, but up to 3 or 4 days and kind of go without plucking, which is nice. So yeah, I stopped plucking altogether for 2 weeks. Then I tried to let as much of the original shape or my natural shape or whatever grow in before I started to shape it. So my original shape was actually a bit thicker than what it is now. I had let my eyebrows grow, the arch was a bit further down, and this line, say, would have been straight over and then over again. But I found that, and especially in here in the inner corner, it actually came down a little bit here, but I found that it was kind of hanging over my eyes too much, because I may not have small eyes, but I have very deep set eyes, or very prominent brow bone. so it can overshadow my eyes quite a lot if I let my eyebrows get too thick or if I make them too dark or whatever. So I put them back to this shape, and this is how I liked it. So I'm really happy with how they turned out. Now, like I said, it was like maybe 2 months before mine were fully grown back in, and other people have emailed me. I've been getting a lot of emails and comments and stuff from people growing their eyebrows out. And a lot of people have said they have been months and months and months. Some people have said they've been years growing them back and they're not fully grown back. So clearly it's not going to work for everyone. Everyone's kind of growth patterns and abilities, you know, for lack of a better term, are going to be different. So I'm just happen to be lucky when it comes to my eyebrows. But I mean, you can imagine I have to, you know, shave my legs and take care of underarm hair and stuff, or armpit hair, whatever you want to call it, ew. You know, more often obviously than some people. So I think it's just how my hairs grow. That being said, they've gotten back to a pretty natural shape. I pluck underneath here. The top shape is just that shape. I don't pluck above my eyebrows. Some people used to ask me how did I get the arch in my eyebrows, but they're just naturally there. I follow my top, the top line, and that's just the way they're formed. But I'm going to go ahead and just show you really, really quickly how I kind of fill them in now. I have some stuff in them, but I'll just take it off one of the eyebrows. And it's really, really basic, but just like kind of the basic grooming of my thicker eyebrows. And yeah, I'll just show you how I kind of do it on a daily basis. Okay, so I just took away the powder that was in them with like a wet cotton bud, and this is pretty much how they look like, say, when I wake up in the morning or whatever. So the first thing I do, I usually do my foundation first if I'm doing this kind of eye makeup, because there's not going to be hardly any fallout, and then I do my eyes, and then I do my eyebrows. So I just get a spoolie, or you can just use a mascara wand, and I just brush the hairs just over to the side, kind of up and over. And then at the moment I use 2 powders. So I like to use a slightly darker powder on the outside, and I'm using my Illamasqua eyebrow cake, and it's this colour here. It's called Gaze. So I use a stiff angled brush, and this is one of my BH Cosmetics brushes. Pick up a little bit onto the brush, and then I just brush it through the tail end, any place that looks a little bit gappy. I don't actually fill them in too dense at all. I quite like slightly more natural finish. And then sometimes I'll extend the tail a teeny bit and kind of taper it. But that's pretty much all I do with that. Then I go into a lighter powder, and I actually use my Sculpt by MAC. It's this sculpting powder here. This is the Accentuate Sculpt Duo. And I pick some of that up on the brush while I still have a little bit of the darker colour. And I run that through the main body of the hair. Again, I'm not, you know, being too dense or thick about it. I'm not doing it too densely. And for the baseline here, where it gets a little bit more sparse, I fill that in a little bit better. And also you can see here where it's a little bit gappy as well. Just fill that in a tiny bit. And then go back over with my brush. And if I see any kind of gappy bits, I'll just fill in a tiny bit more again. So I can see just here, tiny bit gappy looking. But I'm not going to get too anal about it. So as soon as I've that much done, I just get a clear mascara. This is like a cheap Collection 2000 one, I think, from Boots. And then brush my hairs up and then over and down here at the top, just so that the hairs taper. And then sometimes I like to brush the hairs up here in the center a little bit, so it kind of just gives a bit more of a natural shape. And that's pretty much all I do to my hair, to the hairs, to my eyebrows. and I can do this so quickly because there's so many hairs there. I used to have to spend so much more time on my eyebrows when my hairs were, or when there was less hair there. I had to be way more conscious about both sides looking even and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's just how I'm kind of grooming my eyebrows at the moment. I don't really deviate from that as such. I think it was so funny the reactions I got actually from growing back my eyebrows. Some people loved them, and I still get people saying, oh my god, your eyebrows are lovely, so good that you grew them back. And then I'll almost on a daily basis I'll get some random comments saying your eyebrows were much nicer before. Regardless of how other people feel about my eyebrows, I much prefer them this way. It suits my current style much better. My like when I was in my teenage years and my early 20s, my whole like fashion styling was much more contrived, and like I used to be more into like say you know, kind of scene looks and kind of industrial punky you know, that kind of stuff, gothy, whereas I'm just much more kind of into kind of a softer look now. It's much more elegant, vintage, still with an edge, but I think this just suits me more, way more down to the ground now. So, I mean, you can still give your opinions, I don't really mind, but it's not going to change how I feel about them. So yeah, that's just me kind of summing up my eyebrow journey and how they are now. And yeah, I still like to hear how people are getting on with theirs. And you know, I have gotten a few before and after photos, and I think they're really cool to look at because it makes such a massive difference to people's faces, like. So yeah, I'll show you before and afters as well, of course. But either way, I hope this answered any questions that anyone had. If it didn't, I'm sorry, but obviously just leave them below and I'll get to them as soon as I can. So thanks for a million for watching, guys, and I'll chat to you really soon. Oh, actually, I know people are going to ask. On my lips, I'm wearing my yeah, on my lips I'm wearing my MAC the Temperature Rising lip pencil. This was from the To the Beach collection, so it was limited edition. It looks like ridiculously neon on camera here, so I'm not sure how it's going to turn up on YouTube. But then on top of it I have a L'Oreal Glam Shine Juice lip gloss in the colour Candy Juice, which is this lovely coral gloss. That's all I have on today. And then my nails are Primark. Yes, Cyan is the name of the nail varnish. But that's it anyhow, guys. Chat to you soon.